more than 1,000 years ago, deep within the forests of what is now southeastern Nigeria. An extraordinary achievement quietly emerged, one so advanced that historians still struggle to explain it. Hidden beneath layers of soil and centuries of forgotten history were objects of breathtaking complexity, intricate vessels made of bronze, delicate chains and ornaments cast entirely from molten metal, patterns so fine they resemble woven fabric, yet each one formed through fire and metal. For a long time, many believed that such advanced metalworking could only have developed in the great civilizations of Europe or Asia. Yet this remarkable craftsmanship appeared in a place where the world least expected it. In the town of Igbo-Ukwu, archaeologists uncovered artifacts that changed the understanding of African history. These were not simple tools or decorations. They were masterpieces of engineering. Some of the bronze vessels contain hundreds of tiny loops and intricate patterns, all cast as a single piece. Others display delicate rope-like textures and spirals that seem impossible to create using ancient technology. But the most astonishing discovery came when scientists determined their age. These artifacts were more than 1,000 years old, at a time when much of Europe was still emerging from the early medieval period. Master craftsmen in West Africa were already producing bronze works of astonishing sophistication. Who were these metalworkers? And how did they achieve such remarkable engineering so long ago? The mystery begins here. The story of Igbo-Ukwu's extraordinary bronzes did not begin in a grand archaeological expedition. Instead, it began with an accident. In 1938, a local resident in the town of Igbo-Ukwu was digging a simple cistern near his home. As he worked through the soil, his shovel struck something unusual. Buried beneath the earth were strange metal objects unlike anything seen in the region before. At first, few people understood the importance of the discovery. Some believed the objects were ritual items, while others thought they were simply old decorations. But as more pieces were uncovered, it became clear that these artifacts were far more extraordinary. Years later, professional archaeologists arrived to investigate the site. Among them was the British archaeologist Thurston Shaw, whose careful excavations would reveal the true scale of the discovery. What Shaw and his team uncovered stunned the archaeological world. Hidden beneath the soil were hundreds of bronze objects, ceremonial vessels, intricate jewelry, ritual staffs, and decorated containers. The craftsmanship was astonishing. Every artifact displayed an extraordinary level of detail and complexity. Tiny loops, delicate patterns, and woven-like designs appeared in the metal, suggesting a level of technical mastery rarely seen in ancient metalwork. But the greatest surprise was yet to come. These objects were not imported from distant civilizations. They were created right here, in the forests of southeastern Nigeria. The discovery would soon challenge long-held assumptions about African technology and history. The bronzes of Igbo-Ukwu are not just beautiful, they are engineering marvels. Archaeologists were stunned by the precision and complexity of these ancient works. At the heart of this achievement is lost wax casting, a method mastered here centuries before Europe reached similar levels. Craftsmen first sculpted every rope-like pattern, spiral, and bead in wax. This wax model was then coated in clay, forming a mold. When heated, the wax melted away, leaving a cavity into which molten bronze was poured. The results are extraordinary. Some vessels contain hundreds of interwoven loops and spirals, all cast as a single piece without seams. Jewelry, chains, and ornaments are fused perfectly. Even modern artisans struggle to replicate such works. The alloys themselves are remarkable. Igbo-Ukwu bronzes were made from refined copper, tin, and lead, giving them strength, durability, and a golden brown glow that has lasted over a millennium. These bronzes were not mere decoration, they were ceremonial objects, symbols of power, and proof of incredible technical knowledge. Their creation required mastery of metal flow, temperature control, and artistic precision, all without written instructions or modern tools. Every loop, spiral, and rope pattern reflects a mind capable of imagining a structure before it exists. The craftsmanship demonstrates both artistic genius and scientific understanding, at a time when much of Europe was still in the early medieval period. These West African artisans were producing works that rival modern standards. Their skill challenges the assumption that advanced metalworking was solely a European or Asian achievement. The bronzes of Igbo-Ukwu stand as monuments to an ancient civilization's ingenuity, a timeless testament to human creativity, engineering, and artistry that continues to astonish the world. When scientists analyzed the Igbo-Ukwu bronzes, the results were astonishing. Using radiocarbon dating of associated organic materials, they discovered that these artifacts were created in the 9th century, over 1,000 years ago. At that time, much of Europe was still in the early medieval period. The Viking Age had barely begun, castles were rare, and advanced metalworking was limited. Yet, in southeastern Nigeria, craftsmen were producing bronze vessels, chains, and ornaments of unparalleled complexity. The scale and precision of Igbo-Ukwu's bronze casting challenge everything we thought we knew about early technological development. Every loop, spiral, and rope-like pattern in the bronzes reflects a deep understanding of metal behavior, temperature, and chemical composition. These objects were not imported, they were made locally by a sophisticated culture capable of combining artistry with engineering. Their existence proves that Africa had highly advanced civilizations long before similar techniques appeared in Europe. The realization left historians and archaeologists amazed. How did these artisans achieve such perfection without written technical manuals? How did their knowledge pass from one generation to the next? The Igbo-Ukwu bronzes are more than artifacts, they are a time machine, transporting us to a world of advanced engineering, creativity, and cultural achievement 1,000 years before Europe could produce anything similar. This discovery reshapes our understanding of history and celebrates a civilization whose genius has endured, hidden beneath centuries of soil and forgotten stories. The Igbo-Ukwu bronzes were more than works of art, they were symbols of power, ritual, and spiritual connection. Every vessel, chain, and ornament carried meaning beyond its physical beauty. Many of the bronze vessels were used in ritual ceremonies, likely to honor ancestors or deities. Their intricate designs, from spirals to rope-like patterns, were not mere decoration, they reflected belief systems, cosmology, and cultural hierarchy. Some artifacts contain tiny representations of animals, humans, or mythical figures, suggesting a symbolic language understood by the artisans and the community. The craftsmanship demonstrates intentional storytelling through metal. These objects were also markers of status and authority. The finest bronzers would have belonged to kings, priests, or high-ranking officials. Ownership of such artifacts signaled power, wealth, and spiritual connection in a society that valued both artistry and knowledge. The Igbo-Ukwu bronzes reveal a society that merged technology, art, and spirituality seamlessly. They show that metalworkers were not only engineers but also philosophers, historians, and custodians of tradition. It is remarkable that a civilization over 1,000 years ago could combine scientific understanding with profound symbolic meaning. The Igbo-Ukwu bronzers were vessels of memory, carrying the identity, beliefs, and technical genius of a people whose story had been buried for centuries. Every loop, chain, and intricate pattern is evidence of a culture that celebrated craftsmanship, ritual, and human ingenuity. These artifacts remind the world that advanced societies existed far earlier than many had imagined, and that Africa was home to sophisticated cultural and technological achievements long before European influence. The legacy of Igbo-Ukwu continues to inspire historians, artisans, and the curious, revealing a civilization whose art, faith, and engineering were inseparable, and whose mastery still resonates today. The bronzes of Igbo-Ukwu are not just relics of the past, they are a living legacy. The intricate artistry and technical mastery of these ancient craftsmen influenced later generations of African metalworkers across Nigeria and beyond. Centuries later, artisans studying the patterns and techniques of Igbo-Ukwu incorporated lost wax casting, spirals, and rope motifs into their own work. The precision and elegance of these bronzes inspired ritual objects, jewelry, and ceremonial art for hundreds of years. Even today, museums, scholars, and artists around the world marvel at the ingenuity of this civilization. The bronzes serve as a testament to human creativity, innovation, and cultural pride. They remind us that advanced engineering, artistry, and storytelling can exist in perfect harmony. The influence of Igbo-Ukwu extends beyond metalwork. The designs, patterns, and symbolic storytelling embedded in the bronzes inspire modern African artists, jewelers, and cultural historians. These artifacts are not only studied, they are celebrated. Through their artistry, the Igbo-Ukwu bronzes challenge stereotypes about African civilizations, proving that a highly advanced, aesthetically sophisticated, and technologically innovative culture thrived over 1,000 years ago. As we reflect on this legacy, we recognize that these artifacts are more than history, they are a bridge between the past and the present, a reminder of the ingenuity, spirituality, and creativity that defined an extraordinary civilization. The story of Igbo-Ukwu is far from finished. Its influence continues, inspiring new generations to explore, create, and honor the genius of Africa's past.